Gibson, and
me, Donna Drouin,
and Ali Gordon.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
We're interviewing Ali today, and we couldn't be more excited. It's really good. In fact, to be honest, I was a little bit starstruck when...
No, come on.
Donna...
That's very kind.
I can't stand on Glenda's toes, so, you know.
I'm just going to say what I want to say. But I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of over it. But, you know, we don't know many people who've had a sellout exhibition in Chicago or got up at the crack of dawn to be at the National Gallery to discuss Caravaggio's Road to Emmaus broadcasting, you know, so you've done some pretty amazing things. You've also started up Morphe, which we won't talk about overly here, but that's an arts, is it a charity? It is a...
yeah, it is a charity. Yeah, we've been going 15 years now altogether.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. So a lot of these things will pop in the show notes. Also that Ali's got a Substack, which Donna and I just love. Reading those and listening to those. That's called Creative Creatures. But anyway, I'll give you some more of that. How we actually know Ali is we went to a Keswick retreat. He started a retreat for artists at Keswick over a weekend just after Easter. You've done 5 now, am I right? I think it's 5.
Yeah, I think that's right, 4 or 5. Yeah, let's call it 5.
Yeah. And there'll be one next year. It's in the diary.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's where Ali has brought his thinking, I guess, about art and Christianity and shared it with us, and in a very beautiful and academic way. And we've really loved that, and we've really appreciated that.
We have. Yes, I still have my squirty bottle with still take it out.
Oh, nice, with the ink.
Yeah, with the ink.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was.
We had an afternoon spraying ink on things and
in
nature. Yeah. No, it was really great to meet you guys there, and we've been friends since then. I'm glad of the friendship and glad of this conversation today.
Cool. Ali is one of the people that actually listens to our podcast as well.
I do.
Which is really great.
I actually burst out laughing when he told me, and I was like, "Really? You listen to us?"
I do. I listen to it in the studio while I'm painting. Usually a cup of coffee in one hand, a paintbrush in the other hand. Yeah, I like all the giggles that come out. I have to be careful not to giggle too much. I'll spill my coffee.
So, Ali, you are an artist, obviously.
Yes. Guilty.
And it's a particular sort of art, and I can never remember the name of it.
Right.
But, yeah. So I'll just describe a little bit. I've got your book, one of your books here, Why Art Matters, and on the cover is 3 paper aeroplanes masking taped down onto a board, except they're not paper aeroplanes masking taped down onto a board. It's a trick, and this is actually an oil painting. So do you want to tell us a little bit about those paintings? And that's what you're selling at your at the gallery in Chicago and London and other places, isn't it? Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, they're a bit tricksy in a way. They're a kind of illusion. So you're right, as you say, the paper and the tape is all painted, but it kind of looks like the real thing. So it flows from a form of illusionistic painting, or if we say trompe-l'oeil painting, you know, the trick of the eye from the French. Yeah. But that particular approach to the trompe-l'oeil is called quodlibet painting. I hope we're listening. There will be a test later. It's a funny sort of word. It's not one you hear very often. And I did a show, about 15 years ago, of paintings that were starting to look like this, like things that had been stuck on wooden panels. And there was a review in the paper, and the review said that Alastair Gordon refers to the quodlibet genre of painting. And I thought that was fantastic. I'd never heard of quodlibet painting. So I thought, gosh, I better find out what that is in case they don't actually ask me. And as it turns out, people do on podcasts. So, so quodlibet's this really particular approach to trompe-l'oeil painting. It sort of developed in the 17th, early 18th century in Northern Europe. And it was artists who made paintings that looked like things that were pinned or taped onto a flat surface, like a wall or a table or a rack painting. Yeah. Most famous ones look like kind of letter racks with things stuck into them. And they're kind of about what's real, what's fake, what's illusionistic, what can we trust. They're also in a way about politics a little bit. That plays a part in it, and the politics of image making, as well as what's happening within halls of power. Anyway, I just found it a really interesting little side corner of art history that no one else seemed to be working within. And I thought I'd land myself there and make paintings like that for a few years or so. And I suppose I've been doing that for the last 15 years or so.
Yeah,
so got some knowledge.
I like the ones you did of the bothies, the Scottish bothies, where you look like the painting is pinned to the wall of the bothy, and I just thought, I was like, oh, that's amazing! I absolutely, I was showing everyone, and everyone's going, that's just artwork, and I was like, no, you don't understand.
Yeah, that's right. I love that moment when people go, oh, it's painted, it's not masking tape.
Yeah,
and they either look a bit cheated or a bit flummoxed, but there's this sort of sense of this kind of aha moment, and I like that because it causes the viewer, to go back and have a second look, and that's really what it's about. It's about catching your attention and inviting you to have that second look.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, probably should step on my toe now, Donna. To be honest with you, I really like your really expressive work.
Oh, thank you.
The stuff that you paint on the side of hills in the rain or bogs in the middle of winter.
Bogs, yes.
Yeah. So Ali, they're watercolor or acrylics or something, aren't they?
They are, well, both actually. So and thank you for saying that. I'm glad you said that. That's the direction of travel. So I am increasingly now painting outdoors, and in a way, it's almost like two approaches to painting. There's the expressive, loose approach that feels completely different from the very tightly controlled, hyper-realistic elements. And, I'm sure a psychologist could be paid a lot of money to tell me what that's about and what's happening with my personalities. But it really is trying to bring two approaches to painting together in one place, in one space. And so the process involves being outdoors quite a lot. So I'm out in the landscape in my native Scotland, the Lake District, Keswick, where we met sometimes.
Yeah.
The current project is the Holy Islands of Iona and Lindisfarne. And I'll paint outdoors with watercolour, gouache, acrylic. Sometimes the weather really comes in and interrupts the process. That's all part of it.
But it can just erase it.
It can just wash it out. Yeah. Oh, there was a moment I could maybe tell that story about how it all disappeared. But the idea is that I then bring those paintings back to the studio, and then they are the starting point for a trompe-l'oeil illusionistic painting. So sometimes I make even like copies of the loose gestural paintings I made in the landscape. On other occasions, I bring back those loose gestural evocative paintings, and then I paint the illusion of tape and wood kind of around them on the same surface. But, it's all a great experiment.
It is.
Painting is always an experiment. It's problem solving. And,
absolutely.
I never feel anything should be entirely resolved or finished. That there's always a sense of just trying to understand it better. And that's really what these paintings are about for me.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what it's about for me. I've worked that out. That if it becomes too easy, then I don't like it. I want to do something else. I want to push myself in a different direction.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That's why I've been doing the liner cut. I go out and draw, and then I come back to the studio and turn those into liner cuts. Well, that's where my work has been going in that direction.
Nice.
And it's just like the whole challenge of then sitting there going, well, which colour am I using, and which order? Like the whole challenge of then wrapping your head around separating every layer. It becomes a whole other thing. It's like and how am I going to cut that? How do I make that hard edge soft? And how do I make this? There's a whole, all the time, you're just constantly thinking, how do I change this so it makes it more what I want it to be and less like lino?
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that thing that the artist Carita Kent said, the Californian artist from the 1960s. She said that there's no mistakes, there's only learning.
Yeah.
And I love that. Often I feel like I've failed if the painting hasn't worked, and I need to remind myself it is not a failure. It is. It's a learning.
Something you're learning. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I really loved why art matters. I love that you asked that question. Why does art matter?
Yeah.
And the context you've wrapped all of that in is God, and that we come from God and God's creative, etc. I just loved you asking that question and why beauty matters and things like that. Just really fabulous questions. But we've heard you're writing another book.
I am, yes.
Grace in the Making, it's called.
Grace in the Making, it is made. Grace in the Making is made.
Grace in the Making is made. And I love the bits of that I've been able to get hold of.
No.
I wanted you to tell us a little bit about the drawing in the margins, because I just, as an artist, that's just right. I mean, I feel like that's where we are always. I am always on the edge. I'm always writing in the margins of thinking and everything. It's all. It's not in the middle, or it's not ordered. It's all the fluffy bits on the edge.
That's right.
Sorry, anyway, I'm yakking on. Please tell us a bit about drawing in the margins.
Yeah.
No, I love that, Glenda. I love how you put that. Yes, that's exactly the point. When I finished Why Art Matters, there were so many questions that were left hanging for me, and I thought I knew there's another publication in here somewhere, and Why Art Matters was really approaching what it means to be creative, and as an image bearer, we think of that Christian idea of the Imago Dei. To be an image bearer of God is to be creative, is to make things. And I had, so it matters because of that, but then it also matters because of all these other things. It's the voice of the human spirit, and art can ask a question, art can provoke an idea, art can point us to the brokenness of the world, the beauty of the world, the redemption of the world through Christ. But there were certain niggles that were ironing out. I felt that there was a little bit more writing to be done for me to think through the difference between when God creates and when we make, because it's different. The Hebrew words there for creating, bara, in the beginning God created, that seems to be really exclusively about what God is doing, making something from nothing. And then when the Bible talks about things that human beings make, there are other words like making, designing, fashioning. And so I wanted to jump into that a little bit, push into that a wee bit. And also, I think sometimes there can be pressure that if we're making something, that it has to be done really well, really beautifully, to give glory to the Lord who made and said it is good and very good. But what about making things that are kind of okay, or as we were saying, that fail? You know, what if you make something and it's a mistake? You know, surely there's still value in the making process itself. So I wanted to write about that. And so the book is kind of about, before anything is made, there's something that exists before that. And what happens before creativity is relationship. Before God says, let there be light, there's first a relationship within the Trinity, the Father, Son, and Spirit. There's community there.
Yes. Yeah.
And as such, we might say that all acts of making are therefore born out of relationship. And that's where this idea of grace comes from, that before we put a value on anything that we've made, simply the making process itself is full of grace and joy and dignity, because it reflects that relational aspect of God's creativity. So in a way, I wanted to write a book that would give license to fail. And, so it's okay to make things that are all right. That you know, let's make things as well as we possibly can, but it's okay to make something that is not going to win the Turner Prize or be hanging around in a gallery for years to come.
Yeah, make it for your own. There's a thing about learning just because you want to learn how to make something.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Just that whole my husband will watch a history program and he'll go, oh, that's a really interesting thing. Hang on, and he'll freeze frame it, and then he'll go off to his shed and he'll make it and come back and go, look, I made turn shoes.
Right. Yes.
Because he wanted to know. He wanted the whole experience of recreating something that was made.
Yeah. And
he just he's not interested in selling that or passing that on to somebody else or teaching somebody else to make it. He just needed to know how to make it.
Wonderful. Yes.
And it's an exploration of, I need to learn how to do this.
Yes.
Because I want to. Yeah. There is a joy in the learning.
A joy in the learning. Yes.
Yeah.
It's such a great example, because I think most of the things that we make are temporary.
Yeah.
You know, we make a meal, we make a conversation, we build family, we build relationships. You know, and there are aspects of that last a very long time and have an eternal rhythm. But if I make a meal, it's gone within an hour.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a little bit of an aside, but I was delivering some of this material at the Hutchmoot conference a few weeks ago, and at the end, someone put their hand up and said their friend was a chef, a top-end chef, and was reflecting on how he makes this exquisite meal, and at the end of it, his words, quite literally, it all gets flushed down the toilet at the end of the day. I thought, well, fair. A lot of what we make actually, literally or metaphorically, gets flushed down the toilet anyway. But there's still grace in making it. The process of making it is still really valuable, and something beautiful has happened. So so the book's kind of about that. It's in that space, but how there's grace simply in the making process itself.
I love that idea. And there's something else that I think you expressed really well. It's something Donna and I have mentioned here and there, but I don't think it's really been explored as well as you've explored it. And that is more than we mean, you've called the chapter, I think. And that is that our artworks are more than what we
we've
paint.
got an idea what it means, but actually to somebody else it means something completely different.
Well, sometimes we don't know what they mean, like my teapots hanging in trees. I've been painting. That's a vision I had from God, and I am just trusting that whoever owns those paintings will know what they mean.
Absolutely. It's another work of grace again. I think that we don't have full autonomy or control over what our work is about or what God is saying through it. You know, I did a show a few years ago, and one of the paintings in that show was a painting of a church in Iceland. And at the back of the painting, there was a gate behind the church that went out into a wilderness. And I painted the gate, if I remember right, I think it was a compositional device. It needed balancing structurally somehow. Anyway, someone came to the show and they saw the painting and they came to me and they had this interpretation of this painting that I completely had not planned. And they wanted to thank me because they said it represented their place in that moment in life, that there was a big decision to make. It felt like they were going through a gate into the wilderness and they weren't sure whether it was the right time to go through that gate. So this painting had said something to them beyond what I had meant. And that, that struck me then, and I still kind of gather at that now, because I think about how our works go out into the world and how the Holy Spirit can work through them to bring new meaning and new ideas that no longer belong to us. And it helps me, because it helps keep me a little bit humble, I suppose, to know that the works aren't all mine, and it's not just my voice that is at work with a painting, but other voices are happening through that. Yeah, it's an idea I should refer back to Ben Quash over, who I write about in the chapter, and his book Found Theology, where he takes this idea that God is speaking through all aspects of creation, including works of art, in ways that we might not expect. And the idea of found theology sort of connects with the idea of the found object within art history, that there's latent meaning within an object. And his argument looks at how there's Christian theology in things that we might encounter as well, including works of art. So it sort of it plays with that idea a little bit and pushes it a wee bit further, I guess.
Yeah. I absolutely agree that it's a very humbling thing. I did a painting of a sea. I can't remember what else was in it. There was definitely a sea, because people were coming up. It was a prophetic painting painted during worship, and people were coming up and they could see people in the sea.
Right.
And there was quite a lot of people in the sea, and I'm going, well, I didn't paint them in there.
And you hadn't painted them in the sea,
no,
okay? But they're seeing,
planning to paint them, and that was really moving them. I'm going, okay, God.
Yes. It's good. So something wonderful is happening there, and it's worth sort of pausing on that thing. Well, what is happening in the act of making?
Yeah. They were really being blessed by it, but
yes,
it had nothing. So it had nothing to do with me. So I really, you can't take credit for any of it. It's just extraordinary. But that is the lovely thing about working with God.
Mm.
I feel like I've taken over a bit, but you also write about imagination beautifully as well. But I will just say, Ellie, is there anything that you particularly want to share with the
share with the crowd, share with the room,
art dust people?
Well, I suppose I was talking earlier about painting in the Scottish Islands, and there was a moment that I think connects with what you're saying, Glenda, because I was looking out over the North Sea and seeing the waves crashing in, and I was painting where Columba came in somewhere in the 7th century, I think it was, that he came and bringing the gospel to that particular part of Scotland, and I wanted to paint there and remember Columba's legacy and influence. And as often happens when you're out painting outdoors, the weather comes in, the weather has completely different ideas to you. It took 2 hours to get out there, an hour of painting, and then the rain came in like it wasn't so much a weather system. I often say it was more like a theological statement about human frailty, and it sort of comes at you sideways.
Yes.
And within about 10 seconds, it had entirely washed out my painting, and it was heart-wrenching. I didn't have time to put it away. It completely washed out the painting. But the thing is, it didn't feel like a waste of a day. It felt like something had happened during that day, and even though there was nothing to show for it, that something significant had happened. And I'd learned a lot through the making of that painting and the washing out of that painting. And again, I think it's that question of, well, what is happening there that is significant, that's important, and what is God doing within that moment? And I suppose I sense that the way that we live these days is about the making of a quick image. It's about the generating an image quickly. We have questions hanging over our heads about how do humans make in a way that's different from how computers make and how AI makes. What is it quintessential about human making that is significant? And again, there might be a pressure that we have to make something that has a commercial value, or that is quote unquote successful, or that tracks well on social media. But yet before all that, something else is going on that's really important in the making process itself. And I think it comes down to this idea that art making is relational, that it helps us relate to one another, but also to the stuff of nature itself, to the stuff of creation, to the materials, to the weather, to the paper in our hands, to the charcoal that we're drawing with. And that's important, and it's worth sitting with for a while. Even if you have to go to an isolated Scottish island and get halfway blown off the cliff to come to that resolution.
I like the way that it's a pilgrimage to go to. It's a pilgrimage to get to. Right. So you are thinking about God and everything around you whilst you're on the way to doing. And it's the whole thing of then you get set up and then you're all ready and then the rains come.
That's right. Yeah. It was a pilgrimage, a painter's pilgrimage.
Yeah. But a pilgrimage, it is the journey. That's the thing. Once you get there, you kind of, I'm here now. You go, you go home. But it's the journey of getting there that's really important. And I think it also looks at the relationship you have with yourself. Things about yourself bubble up that you didn't know were there, or that are voiced when you haven't had a voice or words for them. They come up through your art. So there's that conversation as well.
Well, I think that's the good relationship between painting and pilgrimage is the process of the journey, the prayerful journey. Yeah. That through pilgrimage, those of us who've walked a pilgrimage would experience that very thing, that often God is saying things about what's going on in our lives, but it needs a little time and a path and a few blisters and a few conversations to get there. And I think that happens through the making of work of art as well, the slow making that allows the mind just a little space set apart from other activities to hold things a little bit lightly, and it can become prayerful. It can become, God, what are you saying in this moment as I apply this material to that thing, and as I draw this line across that paper, as I sculpt this bit of clay, areas of our imagination are occupied that otherwise are involved with the day-to-day living of how to get from here to there and get the kids to school and get the tea on and stuff like that. So I think that that connection between art making and pilgrimage is very profound. Yeah,
it is. I do actually really love going for. I mean, after going to Keswick, and I'm going to say this, I'm terrified of heights. Absolutely terrified of heights.
I didn't know that, Donna.
And we went all the way up that hill on that.
We walked that mountain. I'm so sorry.
And I said, Glenda said, "Are you going to go?" And I was like, "Yep." And I just stood there and looked at my stuff on my bed and going, "What am I taking?" It was the first thought, and I was like, and then I thought, and it was like a moment of, I can do this thing. I can go up a hill. I can take. It was a real profound moment, and it's made me. Actually, it's liberated me of being silly about taking gear outside and drawing outside.
Yeah.
And it changed, because I was just sticking close to the house. I wasn't going very far. I was just building myself up to going out and about just a little bit. Yeah. But that going up that mountain just was like, no, you can go as far as you actually want to.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I will walk as far as, and I go, right, now I've walked for 3 hours, I need to stop. I will have a packed lunch. I always take a packed lunch. And then I'll stop.
Bring biscuits, bring tea.
And I'll draw for a bit, and then I'll think, right, I've got this long before I can actually go back, before I have to let the kids back in the house. Yeah. And it's like, and it's amazing. I've walked for miles in different directions from my home. But it's only because I went up that mountain. Yes.
That walk, then, would you say, is part of the making process as well? Yeah. You think,
absolutely.
This is the crazy thing. So it's not to think of it like a commute to work that takes 3 hours. And think, well, is that worth it? The walking is part of that, the process of making, of journeying. And I think you begin to see that then in the marks that you're making on the paper, in the way that the line tracks across the page. You're making marks that are very different to what you'd make if you're in your living room or in your studio. And it's a bit nuts in a way. You think, well, why walk for 3 hours to make a drawing for 20 minutes and then walk 3 hours again? That feels like a waste of time. But it's not, because the walking is part of the making process.
But you become part of a different community as well, because people round here, there's that woman again with a rucksack and her easel. Out there, and you pass all the dog walkers, you pass all the people you don't normally see. Right. And you become part of a different... it's those interactions as well that become part of the thing. Yes. It is a whole other thing to go out drawing.
It's a whole other thing. I recommend it to people. I know it's that you need to plan a little bit, don't you? And it's always worth just checking in with people, letting people know where you're going. And I know some people don't feel all that safe out and about now. I totally understand that. My sense is, if you're going to up mountains and wilderness places, in some ways you're actually a wee bit safer than about in the city and in the town, because there just aren't that many people around. But worth taking a mobile phone and tea and biscuits. And I carry with me, I've got a wee, in Scotland we call it your granny trolley, that you do your shopping with.
I have a wee trolley.
Do you? Yeah, brilliant. I love that.
Wheelie trolley. Yes, I have a wheelie trolley.
For your art supplies are in your granny trolley. You're pulling up a mountain, looking like a dafty.
Yes, up and down hills, across fields, over styes, round trees. Oh yeah.
It makes for a good kind of temporary easel as well when you're up there.
I've not done that. I'll have to try that. Okay, I'll have to try that.
Oh yeah, it would do. You could
strap it down a little bit. So I've got wee kind of tent pegs and anchoring that I use to strap down my granny trolley, and then a sort of improvised box on the top that I put my canvas on. It's all very Heath Robinson.
I have my little books. I have loads and loads of little books. And then I have bigger books. They kind of go from tiny book, and the pictures just get bigger.
Nice. So you start small, and the small, and then work up to the big ones.
Yeah.
And hope that they don't get blown down the mountain.
Oh, I have tape. I have lots of sticky tape and pegs. Yeah.
Pegs.
No sheep eating my work, no.
So I think that happened when we were in Keswick all those years ago. We walked all that way up to the top of the mountain.
Yeah,
and then the wind came up, didn't it? Yeah.
It did.
People's
amazing.
drawings started flying down the mountainside.
Yeah,
The best
and they were just
exhibition that the
gone.
sheep have seen in ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for that. That was a fab experience. But yes, and I know we went the following year prepared, and then we didn't go up mountain. I was like,
No, I know. There was feedback. There were feedback forums.
that may have been a bit extreme. Yes, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was a long way, actually, wasn't it? And I think
Was.
not
It was a big
everybody
walk.
enjoyed the experience as much as yourself. Yeah,
It
which
was-
is fair.
There was a guy fundraising or something for Ukraine on the way down the hill who opened
was
up.
there? Was
Oh,
there?
opened up his garden.
Oh, yes, yes. That was a random thing, wasn't it?
Oh,
That was
it's
a Holy
very
Spirit
random.
moment. Yeah. He was fixing his fence or something. So the fence was down,
Yeah.
and we walked past, and he said, "Do you want to come in and have a cup of tea and a slice of cake?" Oh, we said, "Well, we've just been up a mountain. That sounds nice. Okay." And then we went and we had tea with this fella. Yeah, he was raising money for the refugee situation, I think, or for the Ukrainian war or something like that.
Yeah.
And you see, those things don't happen if you don't go.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
So you've got to let those things happen.
Yeah,
Ali,
in the moment.
I would love to talk to you for hours more, but
Oh, me too. Yes.
I think our podcast has ended.
Oh.
So
Okay.
Yeah, but Ali, Ali
no.
has a. Ali has a podcast.
I do.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
I forgot about
I do.
the podcast.
Yeah,
One of the many things.
It's called Faith in the Arts, and it's with Malita Hill, the choreographer, and Johnny Meller, the rap artist, and myself. Yeah. So thanks for mentioning that.
It's cool. We just spent the weekend with Johnny at a festival.
Oh, nice.
Norfolk. It was cool.
Yeah. No, he is cool. He's much cooler than I am.
He's like a bundle of energy. He's like,
He's
I can't keep
unbelievable.
up. It's
I
like,
know.
oh, where are we going now? What are we doing?
I wonder if he plugs himself in at night and gets extra juice from the grid.
Well, apparently he didn't sleep. He just kept going.
Really?
It was amazing.
Oh, he's a wonder. And Marlita too, she's got oodles of energy. We record our podcast at 1:00 in the afternoon UK time, which for Marlita is usually about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning because she's coming in from the States.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's got amazing energy and wisdom at the point. She has the wisdom. Johnny has the rap ideas and the theology.
Yeah.
I bring the jokes. I think that's my part. And a bit about painting as well. But Faith in the Arts. It's called Faith in the Arts.
Yeah, no, it is a really good podcast. And yes, she brings she observes well. She observes things well.
She listens to the conversation and is able to respond really well in the moment. Yeah. Not that John and I don't, but she's particularly attentive.
Yes.
So I'm going to say goodbye, or we'll be going on.